Okay, in this particular series, I'm going to show you my Juji Gatame series. The reason I like this is because in international competition, the referees don't allow you much time on the ground, and you need a move that's quick and effective as soon as your opponent hits the ground. Now, of course, in Judo, the ultimate is a ippon, or a technical knockout. This would basically end the match. But a lot of times, your opponent doesn't go all the way over, and he'll land on his stomach. And this is the time to hit this particular move. Okay, now I'd like to break this movement, or the Juji Gatame series, down. Initially, when the opponent hits the mat, the first thing you have to do is create this pressure, okay, right here. But you do that by squeezing your knees together. Okay. Secondly, is you want to take your forearm and immediately push down his head. Okay, using all your weight, everything goes right into your elbow, right into the back of his head. Okay, this will stop your opponent as he tries to get up. Okay, this will keep your opponent down. You have to use your whole body weight to do this. Okay, just as you're going in on top of the head, also you're coming in here and you're grabbing the wrist here, okay? Or even better would be the pinky finger right here. It's illegal to grab any fingers in Judo, but if you grab the whole hand, it's okay. Okay? So this is what you want. Okay? And once you have your opponent in this position, okay, he knows that hey, you're going to go for an armbar. So as he tries to get up, that's the time that your leg is going to come in, okay? And now you're going to really push down on his head. You're going to post your head on the mat, okay? Keeping this pressure on his head. The next thing, most important, is you're going to transfer the weight from your elbow to your knee, right on top of his head, okay? And push his head away, okay? So you want to create this separation from his shoulder and his head. This creates a lot of pain. And this is what he's going to be thinking about, this pain. So that's why this move works. Okay, so you want to keep this pressure here. Okay. Next, you want to pull down your own lapel. Okay, pull down your own lapel and grab your lapel. Now what I'm doing is I'm pushing his head and I'm pulling his arm, separating it in different directions. Again, creating this pain. Reach out and pull his hip to the mat. Make his hip touch the mat. At that time, right, he's going to pop his head up. Okay. Then we roll him over. Okay. As you roll, you want to make sure that your knee is a little bit bent. So you want to catch his chin right in between, right in the back of your knee here. Okay. Keep this pressure down so he can't come up. Okay. This is the basic Juji Gatame position. Later we'll discuss how to break this arm and how to control pin or armbar or choke. Okay, let's look at the same move from a slightly different angle. Okay, again, my knees apply the pressure. Okay, as I'm applying the pressure to his head with my forearm, also I'm reaching in at this kind of the same time here. Okay, and grabbing that pinky finger or the wrist. Okay. Second is, as I come down and I'm applying pressure, my heel comes in first, right? And my foot is actually going to hook the back of his thigh. Okay? Basically, it's kind of like a half grapevine. So this also creates pressure and holds down his base. Okay? And from this position here, right? My arm's pushing through, pushing his head away, posting my head, grabbing my own gi. A lot of times you can't get to this, so you have to pull your own lapel down, and this tightens everything up. Okay, transfer the weight from this position here. Okay, it's real important that I don't try to go for the head right now, because he's not going to lift his head up until I get his hip down. Right, pull my whole body. That flattens him out. Okay, and then from that point on, he's probably going to pick his head up. Okay, even if he doesn't pick his head up, right, I can push my foot and straighten my leg out and go underneath it. Okay, from here I have a straight leg, I curl it, which gets his head in a vice grip. Okay, and then once I'm in this position here, I'm secure. Now I'm ready to work for the armbar. Okay, now let's look at this one last time in full speed. Now I'd like to show you a variation of the same Jujigatami from a different intro and also a slightly different angle. Okay, now I'm going to break it down to show exactly how this move works. Okay, now this time, instead of squeezing my knees together right away, I'm going to shoot in with my right foot immediately. I'm going to come in here and hook the other side of the leg. Okay, let me show you. So I'm hooking, stopping his knee. The purpose of that is so he can't take this leg and stick it out. Okay. This time this arm's going to come through. Last time this arm came through. This time this arm's going to come through, and I'm going to immediately apply pressure to the head and shoot to my hip this way. Okay. Now this pressure against his head is what makes this move work. Okay. Now a lot of times he's going to still be able to grab his belt or his gi in here, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach down, grab my wrist, and pull it in tight to pick up all this slack. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to reach across, if I can, to the far leg and pull it directly toward my head this way. Okay. Flipping him over into that same Jujigatami position here. This move is a surprise move, so it works as your opponent's either getting up or actually going down. But as soon as your leg comes in here, right, you have to be thinking also about this arm coming through. Okay, so it happens at the same time. Okay, arm comes through, right? Now what I'm going to be doing is changing my weight from my right hip to my left hip this way. And I'm just going to be forcing all my weight down to the mat. Boom. Right? To this position here. Okay? Once you get into this position, it's important not to rush things. Okay? You have control of your opponent. Main thing is you want to tighten up all the slack, right? Pull your own wrist, right? Sometimes it comes out. If it comes out, you can just take the armbar right here, right? But a lot of times he'll be able to hold his belt, pull in tight, okay? Right here, you want to kick out his head, right? Kick his head away from his shoulder. Again, creating that pain, okay? And again, my foot, okay, on the opposite side is very important also, right here. Because if he can get this leg out and extend it, a lot of times he's going to escape. So you want to always keep this in tight here, okay? And again, let's go back to this position. Okay. Okay, from here, if I can reach the far leg, that's great. If I can't, what I want to do is grab this close ankle, pull it to my head, right? Just keep pulling it until he spins over. Okay? You can even hold on to it until you can control your opponent. I like to put my legs together, okay, and squeeze my knees, because from this position here he can escape, right, just as you turn him over. So you want to, for 1 second, hold here and then come up and get the arm. Let's do this one more time in full speed. Here's another variation that sometimes you can catch in competition, although it's a little bit more complex. If you hit it with a lot of speed and at the right timing, you can get it. Okay, now we're going to break this technique down. Basically, it's a one-shot deal. You know, you're doing kind of a forward head roll, and this leg comes in just as in the previous Juji Gatami. It comes in and goes shoots straight through. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to come down and I'm going to cup the back of his knee here. I'm going to reach in and try to grab the far lapel or just hook under the armpit here. Okay, come on up. Try to grab here or just take whatever I can get right here. Hook the armpit. Okay. What I'm going to do is just do a forward head roll, tuck my head in here. Okay. Reach in and use the power of my leg and the torque motion to twist the opponent over. Okay. From this position, I don't want to let go of this leg too quick because he's going to escape. Right. I want to hold on to this as long as possible until I can subdue him. Right. Get my control, squeeze my knees together, and then from here I can just reach up, grab the wrist, and take the arm. Once again, we're going to go through this in slow motion. The difference between this and the ones before is a lot of times your opponent will be in this position here. Okay, instead of approaching him from the back position here, you want to kind of scoot to the side a little bit. Okay, that relieves the tension and that allows him to come up. Okay, and as soon as he comes up, this leg's going to go hook through, and this one's going to come straight through again. Okay, and this one's going to cup around here. Okay, this leg as it comes through, okay, this leg here has to kick, right? This kicking motion, this muscle right here is what forces him over. Okay, the torque, and then the finish is here. Okay, he has to be very tight in here. Okay, and again, he'll end up in this position. Then you can cross your feet or come in here, take the wrist. Okay, at this point I'd like to introduce you to a whole another series of moves that actually break this person's arm and allows you to get the arm bar. Okay, once you roll the person over, that's kind of the first half. The second half is actually getting the arm and breaking the arm. This is a typical position in judo, especially international competition. One guy will have the arm, the other guy will be holding here, or maybe he's got his gi, and it's very difficult to break, especially against a very strong person, okay, who's got a strong upper body. Okay, so it's important to understand the basics first, and then we're going to go into the details of how you actually break the arm. The basics is, number one, is you do not want to create any space. Right? You have to eliminate all space on the top. And what I mean by that is, if I'm out here, okay, and there's just a tiny bit of space in between here, and I go to armbar his arm, that's what's going to happen. Okay, you might break it loose at the top, right? But as soon as you go and try to pull the arm, he's going to switch his hips, right, and pull his arm out. Okay, so it's very important. Number one is that you have this non-space right here. Okay, and the way you do this is, say I roll him over and I feel like there's a little bit of space here. What I want to do is just hold on to him, right? And what I want to do is sit up and pop my hips underneath and eliminate that space. Okay, so you're here, right? I hold on to this arm. It could be in the bicep or anywhere I can. Hold on, pull him in tight. Okay, constantly keeping pressure down on the head. If you don't keep pressure down on the head, he's going to sit up into you this way. Okay, so this pressure on the head eliminates him from sitting up. Okay. The other thing that eliminates him from sitting up is if I switch arms and grab my own gi, he goes to sit up, and I just place my hand down on the mat. Okay, so this is the typical position right here where I might have to hold this for a few seconds, and then when I feel the time is right, then I can move up, maybe cross my legs over. Another thing is, what I like to do is I like to reach over, pull this arm. And the reason I pull this arm is because it creates this tightness right here. I squeeze my knees together. And you have to be able to control the person actually without holding onto the arm. Okay, so as Rio tries to escape, this has to be tight enough where you can almost control without him escaping. Okay, so again, the space, the pressure on the head, okay, and the elbow to the chest is the most important thing and the basics when you're in this position before you break the armbar. Okay, either by grabbing your own gi here or changing arms and grabbing here. This elbow always has to be right in your chest, this way. Okay, with no space at all. Okay, now let's start with the most basic way to break this opponent's grip. Okay, basic again, in the chest. Okay, and the main thing you want to do from here is always go toward the head. Never try to pull back. So you want to pull this way, right, and then back around here. Okay. Now the pinky has to always be down, thumb's always up. As soon as you allow him to turn his arm this way, he's going to escape. Okay. So pinky down, thumb up. Okay. What I like to do here is grab the wrist, and it's just like a handshake in here. So you have to control his wrist. Because once you're in this position, if you don't have control of the wrist, for sure he's going to escape. Okay. Again, control, elbow to the chest. Okay. All this one really does is you can grab your own lapel. Okay. It doesn't really matter where this hand goes for this move. Right. All you want to do is come this way. Right, toward the head. Right, and back around. Okay. Now, what I like to do in this particular one, okay, when I go toward the head, and this is what worked best for me in international competition, is I'll work against his wrist. Okay. If you try to come here to the elbow, he's too strong, right? It's hard to break. But the wrist is a weak part. So what I'll do is I'll try to move up. Okay, work my forearm, or the knife bone right on your forearm, as close to the wrist as possible. Okay, and then with this hand over here, which is probably going to be placed on the mat to stop him from coming up, okay, I'm going to come basically out of left field and almost throw a punch, okay, here, catching my own wrist, right, and that particular explosion is what pops the wrist off. Okay, going toward the head, and then back around. One more time. You're here. Okay, it's important. Everything has to be tight. Knees tight, elbow to the chest. Okay, and you leave yourself a little bit of leeway here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch it. Okay, my wrist is right in the elbow this way. It's almost like a figure four, right on his wrist, okay? But I can't just go like this. It's got to be like a right-handed punch, coming from left field here. And then, all right, the next move I'm going to do is basically, it's almost a wrist lock. And in Judo, it's a little controversial, it could be illegal, so don't say you learned it from me. But basically, what you want to do is, if his left hand is holding his right wrist in this position here, okay, he's leaving his wrist open. Okay, so what you want to do is maintain that knees together, elbow and chest, and start here. I usually start here and I start to pull here, because what this does is it pops that wrist out. Sometimes it's in here, right? But if you pull on this, it pops it out. Okay, and then from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and right at the fingers, curl it, and it's basically a wrist lock. Okay, and then take it, twist the wrist this way, and then apply the armbar. Okay, let's look at it again. He's in this position. Even if he's holding on to his gi, it doesn't really matter, because you could come in here, see, that pops it out. As you pull his bicep, that pops it out, right? You basically can just grab the wrist, which is legal, okay, like this. But if he fights it, okay, if he's fighting against the wrist, then it turns, okay? Now it's a wrist lock. And now you basically take it straight back. In this particular position, instead of the opponent having his right arm on the outside, he's going to have his right arm on the inside, here. Okay, so it really depends on how he reacts as to which move you use. But in this particular one, what I like to do, again, always basic. Knees in, no space, elbow to the chest, okay? And right here, he's kind of giving you, using the knife edge of your forearm against the bone of his forearm, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to figure four. You're going to come into his wrist here, and basically just by starting out this way and then turning your wrist up to where the knife against his knife, and then just figure fouring his arm. That creates a lot of pain, okay? And at that time, you're going to see him loosen up this grip, okay? As soon as you see him loosen up the grip, boom, then you take the arm. Okay? So, again, you're in tight, this arm is inside, okay? What you have to do is find this right spot where it creates the pain. And this might take a while. You might start here, right? Start working it and nothing happens. So you might have to kind of walk your elbow up, right? This is on your leg. You walk your elbow up, up, up until you find the right spot. Okay, you're here, elbow comes up, up, up. You find the spot, he lets go, rip it up. Okay, now let's suppose that no matter what we do, we can't get this arm broken. Okay, we can't break the grip. And a lot of times that will happen in international or Olympic competition because it's not as easy as it looks. You're never going to just grab the guy's wrist and break it off. So basically what I like to do here is he's going to be tight. He's going to grab his own lapel or his own sleeve. Okay, I just have to work my hand underneath it. Okay, what I'm going to do at the right moment, okay, I'm going to be holding on to his bicep. I'm going to change the grip that I have, okay, and apply pressure against the inside of his leg. At the same time, I'm going to come over, grab his belt, and stretch it as tight as possible. So I key lock both his wrist and this wrist up. Both arms basically trapped together. Okay, and at this point, okay, he's going to try to come over the top, and that's when I have to keep applying pressure with my leg. Okay, I wait for the right moment, okay, and then what I do is I take this leg, pull it back, and lay the knee on the mat. Okay, I have to do this quickly because otherwise he's going to try to come up, but actually he can't because I still have this pressure down. Okay, plus I've got him tied up, and from here I use my hand to pick up my hips just slightly, because you don't want to pick up your hips too much. Slightly, and come into a osaikomi, right, or a hold down, pin. All right, in this situation, as opposed to last time when I came over under with my right arm, okay, and grab the belt this way. This time, I'm going to come underneath with my left here and maintain this posture, okay? Again, possibly posting my hand so as he moves around I can control him, okay? From here, what I'm going to do is just reach up, and it's very simple. Just take this hand and put it underneath his belt, all right? Just don't grab this way, but just grab underneath this way, okay? So it's very easy to get into this. And once I have him here, grabbing onto the belt, the pressure on the head, he's really not going to go anywhere. Because you have full control of him. Now in Judo, they have osaikomi, or a pin. And what we do is, we'll take one at a time. We'll reach down, post this knee on the mat, then I'm going to put my elbow right on the inside of his knee, which causes some pain. Then I'm going to do is reach up, grab this one, put my elbow behind that. Okay. Now I've got full control of his legs. This leg here is going to curl, right? And what that does is creates pain in the hip. Right now his hip is being twisted. So this creates a lot of pain. And what you do is you just wait for the right moment for him to let go. And as soon as you see that let go, you come across, take the wrist, and into the arm bar. Okay? One more time. You're here. Reach up. Grab the belt. Right? Again, he's going to, right from here, the only really way for him to escape is to turn his hips away from you. Right? Is to try to go away from you. So what you want to do is just reach out, pull him back into you. Okay? And as soon as you get him back in far enough, come over with your elbow here and put it right behind his knee. This way. Okay? Place your hand on the mat. Right? Now you have full control right here. Okay? And just, if you create enough pain, his grip is going to break. Take it with the inside of your elbow. Okay? And just fall straight back this time. Here. Until he taps. From this same position of tying up the belt, okay, with your hand here, okay, we have an option of pinning the opponent as opposed to just getting this arm bar. Okay, in judo, osaikomi, if you pin him for 30 seconds. So what I like to do here is from this position, same thing, pull him in tight, here, all right? What you're going to do now is just look for the right time. Say he doesn't give up this grip. Say he holds on tight. What you do is just place your hand on the mat, bring your leg back, and push into him. Okay. Now you have your knees squeezed tight together. You have all your weight on his lower stomach, and you have his legs trapped behind your leg. And it's very difficult to escape. Go ahead, try to escape. Very difficult. Okay. Now use this right time. The only thing for him to do is to let go of this grip and turn away. And as he does that, you come back and get the arm. Because of the detail of that last move, I'm going to go through it and show it in a little bit more detail. Okay. Again, the belt, hold the belt. Okay. Secondly, you want to have the pressure against the head. Okay. If you lose this pressure, he's going to sit back up into you, and you'll lose it. So you always have to have this pressure right here. Next, as he tries to go away, you're going to have to reach up, right, and pull him back, one at a time, one leg at a time, this way. Okay. Now in judo, as I come up, okay, as I'm placing my hand on the mat and pushing back up into him, this is an osaikomi, or a pin. If I hold him here for 30 seconds, the match is over. So he doesn't have much of a choice, right? The only way for him to escape is to let go here, right, and turn away from me. And at that specific time when he lets go, all I do is come back, grab the wrist, and now I'm back into my juji gatame, where I started out before. This position here, okay, when I have control of him and I'm up over here, I cannot leave my hip on the ground this way. If I leave my hip on the ground, he's going to come into me and on top. So my hip, it's very important that my hip is up here, right on top of him, right in the lower part of his stomach. Okay, and this leg here has to squeeze tight, right, controlling his head. Right? It's very difficult to get out of this position. Okay, and from here, I just wait for the right moment. He pops off, then I fall back and catch the arm. Another variation of this same belt grip is that you can use into what we call tate shio, or what jiu-jitsu players call the mounted position. Okay? When you're in this position, here, right? Again, pressure. You come up into the opponent, right? Everything is on his stomach. You're controlling the opponent. Okay. Sometimes, for some reason, he'll get this arm you'll start to lose it. Okay, and at that particular time, what you want to do is sit back on your left leg. Okay, come over here. Here, sit back here on your knee, right? And then from this arm's going to come through and push this elbow up, and your other leg is going to come around into this position, which we call tate shio. If I can hold him here for 30 seconds, I win the match. Okay, so this is a popular position also in judo. In jiu-jitsu, they work many different things from this position. A lot of the arm bars and a lot of the chokes are all basically the same in judo. So again, from here, okay, in this position, I start to lose the arm. He starts to pull it out for whatever reason. I sit back. I sit back and lock in his wrist. Okay. And at the last second, I let go here. Now I have his wrist locked in. Now what I want to do is come and grab his bicep so he can't come around this leg here. Right. So I grab his bicep here, come into this position, push it over. Right. What we call kata gatami. Right, tate shio gatami with the shoulder. Now let's look at some options against an opponent defending the juji gatami. As I'm coming in for the initial juji gatami, where I reach under, grab the wrist, apply the pressure. Okay, this opponent is waiting with this arm. Okay, he doesn't want me to come over the top of his head. So as I'm coming over the top of his head, a lot of times they'll grab hold on to this leg, right? So that stops you from picking it up, okay, and turning him over. So he's going to hold on tight with that leg. Okay, what I want to do is I want to pull down my own lapel and pull this arm out as much as possible. Next, I'm going to pick myself up, right, into this position. Okay, and this foot here, right, is going to be hooked underneath here. So I'm going to use this as a lever. Okay, all I do now is I keep moving my hand back, and I'm sitting on the top of his head until he flips over this way. Okay. Now a lot of times they'll try to hook your leg this way, so you have to watch out. As soon as you flip over, right, you've got to move this quickly and then pull here. Okay, to get the juji gatami. Let's look at this move again. As I come in, my hand comes through again, the typical juji gatami. As I'm coming over the top, he's going to grab my leg and pop his head up. Now he's got control of my leg. Okay, so I can't go forward. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is reach up, grab my own lapel. Just pull this down, grab my own lapel here. Here. And what I want to do now is I want to sit on the top of his head and again use this leg over here as an ankle, as a pry. Okay. I'm going to roll back, okay, into the juji position. Okay, but now notice this time my leg is on the inside. Okay, all the other times I was doing it, it was on the outside. So this poses more problems for me, right? And there's other solutions. So the other solution to this is when this leg happens to be on the inside, you basically wait for him to bridge, and as he bridges up, right, you're going to take your right foot, right leg, slide it underneath his body, reaching up, grabbing the knee to help, and this is going to put you right into a sankaku, which is a choke, and then there's many variations of this particular move right here. Let's go back to where we were, right here, legs inside. Okay, now this is very difficult, a little bit harder to break this when the leg is on the inside. Okay, because number one, you don't have the pressure on the head, right? So he's going to be able to roll into you a little bit easier, right? So you really have to watch it. At this point, as he rolls up into you, right, you've got to brace yourself with your hand here, okay? So he rolls up in, right, he comes back down. And finally, when he realizes he can't go that way, he's going to try to bridge and go this way, and that's when you come underneath, right? Figure for your legs, and you're in sankaku, which is a triangle choke. Let's look at another variation. Now as I'm coming in for my Juji Gatami, right, I apply the pressure. Okay, now perhaps I know that this guy always grabs my leg. So instead of giving him the chance, instead of me coming over the top this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay tucked in a ball here, right? And I'm going to post my head. I'm going to pull my gi down, right? Just enough to grab my own gi. Okay? Now from this position I still have the pressure here, right? But I don't want to give him my leg. So what I do from here is I just come on the opposite side, right? Opposite side here, and keep my knee on top of his head so he can't grab it. Okay? Then from here what I do is I lift up, arch up, and what I'm going to do is just sit back. Completely sit back. This way. Into the Juji. Okay? One more time. Okay, the basic difference is instead of trying to come underneath, right, and he pops his head up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay on top. But again, the key to this move, all right, is to keep this leg locked in here, this way, right? But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on the back of his shoulder blade, okay, this way, here. And I'm going to slowly, what I can do is start off on my knee and then come up like this. Okay, now he cannot go this way anymore because I've got him trapped. And I just slowly wait and wait and wait until he flips over. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of how you defend yourself against a person who's coming over the top for a Juji Gatami. There's basically 3 or 4 ways that I used to use. It's very tough once the opponent gets your arm stretched out. There's very few escapes. So it's very important in the beginning that you don't let your opponent secure the leg in or secure the wrist. Okay, but the first and most basic of any newaza or any grappler should be to turn and face your opponent. So as soon as you feel your opponent touch your back, you need to turn and face him and gain control of one of the lapels or his sleeve, or gain control of him with your legs. Okay, this is very important because suppose I came in for an attack and I missed the attack. As soon as I feel him touch me, right, I need to quickly, what I want to do is just jump out, turn and face him, and pull him into me. Okay, now I can see my opponent, what kind of moves he's going to do, plus I have 2 hands and 2 feet, right, to defend myself. Now I have 4 ways to defend myself instead of no ways. Okay, so this is the worst position a person can be in. Okay, now suppose I just can't turn and face him. Suppose he lays all his weight on me, okay, and starts to work this foot in here. The main thing is I want to keep my elbow tucked right here into my knee. Okay, so there's no space where he can get in there, right? And then secondly, I use my other hand to put, every time he comes in, I push his push his ankle out. Okay, again, this way. Okay. Third is, as the opponent comes in, okay, say he comes over the top and gets your arm in this position here, right? I want to reach up. If I end up in this position, all I want to do is hold on to his leg and perhaps hold on to my lapel, right? Pull my own lapel in so he can't break my arm off. Pull his leg back into me here. Okay, the main thing is I want to keep moving into him, right? Keep moving in. So this creates him a little bit off balancing for him. The minute I try to pull my arm out, he's going to get the arm. Right? So I want to create this tightness right here, okay? And just keep pushing in, pushing in, pushing in. He may turn over, push in until you feel the right time, right? Then you can pull your arm out. Okay, once you're in this position here where your opponent has you tight, in this, right like this, okay? What I like to do is just hold on to my own lapel, okay? What I do is I bridge up a little bit, push the ankle up over my head. Now I'm going to use my neck, the back of my neck, to pinch his leg to the mat. So now he can't apply this pressure that is very important for Juji Gatame. So you've taken that one away from him, okay? Keep holding on to the ankle and apply the pressure here, okay? Now from this position here, once you have this pressure here, now you can push the other ankle down to here, okay? Now you've got his legs spread apart, and that knee, all-important knee pressure in Juji Gatame is taken away, okay? Now from here, I never let go of this. What I do is I reach up and pull down on him so he can't apply any pressure against my neck. I pull down here and hold him until I feel the right time, then I pull in here, okay? And that, by pulling him forward, allows you enough space to pull your arm out. All right, just to go over that last move in detail, the best time to get this leg behind your head is as you're rolling, as the opponent's rolling, okay? But if it ends up this way, and you're able to bridge up and put it behind your head, that's the second best way. So you want to pin, again, you want to keep your head cocked in this position. Sometimes you can even bridge up, okay, and keep this leg pinned to the ground. At the same time, you're bridging up and applying pressure. You take this ankle, you want to push it straight down in between your legs and figure four it here. Okay, now next I reach up, grab here, here, anywhere to pull the opponent down. Okay, by pulling him down, right, it creates space inside. Remember, he wants my elbow to be put right into his chest, and by me pulling him down, it lowers that elbow into his stomach. Okay, and from here, what I want to do is bridge a little bit, and then when I release my bridge, I turn out. Okay, this way. Hopefully into a superior position here. Okay, now this last stitch effort, okay, the last way to get out of Juji Gatame is kind of it's just what I said, a last stitch effort where if all else fails, then this is the only way you have out, then this is what you can do. Okay, you're holding on to your gi, or you're holding on to your own arm. Now he's squeezing and he's pulling back, right? So he doesn't know when I'm going to let go of this arm. So at that slight second where he's pulling and I automatically let go, that creates a little bit of space, okay? So from here, he's pulling. I have to switch my hips over and come on top. So basically what I'm doing is he's pulling my arm this way. I know when I'm going to let go, so that creates the space. And as soon as I let go, I have to turn my wrist out this way, right? And at the same time, I have to switch my hips over, right? This way, onto my stomach, and then hopefully out of the Juji Gatame, okay? Let's try it in full speed here. Okay, one more time for that last move. Basically, the strongest hold I can have is probably my lapel. Okay, but secondly, if for some reason, okay, I cannot bring this leg over to the back of my head, okay, and I know that this is the last thing I can do. The second best thing I can do is reach up and pull him forward, okay, and as I'm pulling him forward, he's still pulling back, right? So I'm creating this little tug of war here, okay? But so by doing this, I'm making him pull a little bit harder, okay? And at that split second, when I let go of both my lapel and his lapel, okay? And at the same time I let go, I have to turn. I don't let him get control of my hand, okay? So from here, I'm pulling down. He lets go. I turn, and at the same time, my leg comes up and over.